Strawberry. The week had been long, and with stress on the brink, Ben went to the bar to relax with a drink. But what a long week, with working and such. One turned to two, and two to too much. The hours drew late, or early I guess. It was time to go home, and Ben was a mess. This walk wasn't much back when he was younger. Just staggering home, he felt a sharp hunger. With everywhere closed, there was only one place for Ben to get food and just stuff his face. A garden in town, owned by an old bloke who cared not for others, it's really no joke. Once in a while, he'd sell off some food, but to keep most himself was really too rude. The coast looking clear, Ben hopped the old fence. He scanned the whole yard and felt a bit tense. He crept along slow, and behind a large hedge, he saw a great sight of fresh fruit and veg. He picked at some fruit and started to munch. What was meant as a snack turned into a bunch. It all was so good, no bite marks or rot. Ben's eyes were then drawn to a small barren plot. He stumbled his way to where he'd misbehave. A small stretch of dirt almost looked like a grave. Ben thought it unmarked, but to the contrary, there stood a small sign which read only strawberry. Ben felt deprived, disappointed and hurt, but this was soon stopped by a shift in the dirt. He dropped to his knees and steadied his eyes, to then see a woman from the dirt she did rise. He knew he was drunk, but her face was so clear. Her eyes were black holes, and on Ben they did leer. In his drunken stupor, his nerves were a wreck. She lunged from the dirt and grabbed at his neck. She kept hold of Ben as she reached out and swayed. Her flesh was blood red, as though she had been flayed. Ben pulled and pushed to keep this monster at bay, but she was too strong. He could not break away. Ben fought and screamed for all it was worth, but his cause fell to naught when pulled into the earth. Manslaughter. Her old man was dead, that much was certain. He'd now kicked the bucket and drawn the last curtain. He wasn't so bad, though a bit of a dolt, but now he was gone, and it was her fault. It started so well, just a regular day. She brought him his breakfast and pills on a tray. With so much to do, a volley of chores, all mind-numbing tasks she completely abhors. All must be finished within a strict timing, with no room for sass or backtalk or whining. She'd work till she blistered and ached in each bone. He'd only trust family, in which she was alone. She enjoyed quiet moments with what little she had, away from her duties for her dear old dad. She must sweep the halls, all done with a broom, but she was interrupted when he entered the room. He'd been for a checkup, and his heart was still strong, but he gripped at his chest. Something was clearly wrong. He stretched out his arm, but kept still his head. He fell to the floor, and like that, he was dead. Filled with regret, feeling mournful and shook, but then that's just how she had planned to look. It wasn't always this way, to awake with a sigh, but time after time he just wouldn't die. Oh, the attempts, of which there were many. She'd have had her own life, for each got a penny. It started off small, just simple mishaps, but she'd upped her game and began to lay traps. She tried a quick zap and a few well-placed wire, just 2 tries at poison and a small controlled fire. But all failed hard, only her patience erode. She'd even set up the car, but it didn't explode. Plotting his end, but no duties were shirked. She managed her plans, but still nothing worked. Her life drifting past, and the unending bills, she quit being clever, and so went with the pills. Perhaps a bit tactless, I doubt you'd approve, but with nothing else left, she just made her move. A tragic mistake by a dutiful daughter, they'll say it's not murder, but simply manslaughter. Luck Dragon. The never-ending story, a film you would adore. I'd highly recommend it if you'd not seen it before. The story is quite lovely, plus charmingly intense, and fantastic characters, but one is just immense. You may already know of the character I speak. Falcor is his name, and your interest he will pique. A great and fluffy creature with fur as thick as fog. They call him a luck dragon, though he looks more like a dog. Well, that's the reason, for this story at least, as one man's grandson who adored the big beast. The old man himself was a famous dog breeder and a wonderful trainer as alpha and leader. His grandson had asked for a dog like Falcor. He could get it done, though it would be a chore. The work would take years and so many breeds. Each dog would be different, from their traits to their needs. Year after year, his grandson would ask, and year after year, he near finished his task. I should quickly say, lest you feel concern, each pup got a home, and the love they did yearn. Then one fateful year came a rousing success. The pup was spot on, and was bound to impress. This dog grew up quick, he was as big as a wagon. The lad was so pleased to have his own luck dragon. All started so well, the boy was so happy, the man got such praise, it all felt quite sappy. But then something happened, which had all feeling off. As the dog became anxious, it then snarled and coughed. The old man took charge, and so entered the fray, asserting his presence to keep it far away. Staring straight at the man, its fur it did shed, it snapped and it roared, and its eyes became red. He held out his hand to prevent all from harm, but the beast wouldn't have it, and so tore off his arm. Then everyone panicked as it frightened and scare, but by the time the sun set, it ate everyone there. It was now its own master, and so do what it could. With more food to find, it ran into the wood. May this be a lesson, and let fables be thus, lest they become real and consume each of us. Orthodoxy. The last box now clear, the move was complete. We had time to settle and put up our feet. But not for too long. With new social labours, we soon have to meet our new lovely neighbours. We'll make introductions and keep our hands clean, being friendly and kind, saying nothing obscene. We want to fit in, to really be part of this new place and warm every heart. It's always this way when in a new place, but work hard and be nice, become a regular face. We're quite open-minded, at least I like to think. Whatever your creed, let's go out for a drink. We have a big family who are sure to stop by, and they're a fun bunch just between you and I. If you need a hand, then just come to us. We're happy to help, there's no need to fuss. Needing a ride? Take the keys to the car. Goodness will take you, no matter how far. Just be a fun neighbour or a comforting shoulder, though we have to keep calm since we're now getting older. So that's how we work, all smiles unshaken. We just share the love in these bodies we've taken. I know it seems strange, but we've done this a while. We know all the tricks, it's a perk of such guile. We integrate quickly, just numbing their senses, gaining their trust to remove their defenses. More family show up to help in the work, such attentive relations, a favourable perk. Most will submit, which is a delight. Some become willful and then try to fight. Those ones are a shame, such unneeded waste. To butcher a soul is really poor taste. This was the old pact that we renew each year. We won't go back to hell, so instead we'll stay here. Now that you know, it's just a relief to be so forthcoming of our sacred belief. Two become one, thus making us whole, possessing each person, mind, body, and soul. To enrich our lives, we live through them by proxy, and we grow ever more in our great orthodoxy. Good day, I'm Jar19 and thank you for listening. So, what did you think of the 4 random creepypastas? Hopefully we'll have you planning your answers for my next spontaneous assignment. These 4 random creepypastas were inspired by Tales from the Forbidden Blender. Link to his channel in the description. I thought I'd give this a shot, and I have to say it was really fun. I'm definitely going to be asking for your recommendations again in future, and then you can hear what I've come up with. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then perhaps subscribe, leave a like, and if you're feeling particularly cheeky, maybe even a comment. I do hope that you'll join me again. Stay safe, sleep well. But remember, here we make monsters.